red carpet, please welcome to stage Amanda Coombs with Blindsided.
Thank you so much, Eric, and I need to apologise because I didn't get the yellow memo. Imagine being a child, you're just 7 years of age. You're sitting in a cold clinical doctor's office, and then you hear this. She'll struggle with reading and writing. She won't be able to play all sports, and she'll never get a licence to drive a car. It was as if that doctor had this checklist that everything kids love on it, and he just went down it. No, no, no. And I was waiting for him to say I couldn't go to birthday parties or eat ice cream. How would you feel at being 7, told what you could never be? Who told you what you could never be? Was it a teacher? A parent? Maybe it was a work colleague last week. In my case, it was a so-called expert who tried to define my life only by what they could see. Has anyone ever tried to blow your life candles out? I have found that the biggest threat to high performance isn't lack of ambition or drive or strategy. It's being blindsided. Have you ever been blindsided? Even when you're at the top. How did it feel to be blindsided? And wouldn't it be great if we never felt blindsided again? Research from Deloitte shows that 60% of corporate executives did not see their biggest career derailment coming. That's right, 60%. And IMD Business School strongly links being blindsided with lack of strategic resilience. There was this one day in the winter of 1974. I call it D-Day because it was the day that I was diagnosed and defined. My parents and I, we travelled from Burnie, a small town on the northwest coast of Tasmania, to Hobart. We were off to the Big Smoke for my annual eye examination. We walked in to the double-storey Federation home in the city that had been converted to a medical practice, and the smell of must met medicine. We could hear the sounds of the creaking floorboards underneath our feet. I was tall for my age, but I could barely see over the front counter as the receptionist asked Mum for my name. We sat in the waiting room. No Netflix, no iPads, back in the 1970s. Just that sound of the ticking clock and a few little golden books. My then alcoholic father leaned over, smelling of last night's beer, and said, "Amanda, remember to listen to everything the doctor tells you. Because in those days, children should be seen and not heard." You see, if you haven't already noticed, this eye looks very different to this one. I was born medically blind and have only 5% sight in this eye. Raise your hand. Cover your eye. That's what my world has looked like for the past 50 years, plus GST and some. That day could have crushed me, But instead, it ignited this fire inside of me. And over the years, I've developed a roadmap to not only help me cope with being blindsided, but to grow through it. It's called VIEW. And today I'm going to share with you 3 of its components. The first one is about the V as vulnerability, as visibility. The day I was diagnosed, I made a decision. And that was that no fossil of a doctor, no matter how many fancy letters he had after his name, was going to define my life. You see, I had big dreams. Even as a 7-year-old, I was going to go to university to become an Olympic athlete and to see with this eye everything the world had in store for me. We all have a doctor's moment. Someone who told us that we're not enough. And maybe you believed them, even if it was just for a moment. But being vulnerable and owning our story doesn't make us weak. It makes us real. What? I was told that I have trouble with sport. At 10, I ran a half marathon. What have you been told that you can't do? The I in the roadmap of VIEW is about intuition over information. The doctor had data, but I had gut instinct. And even at 7, I knew that he was wrong. At 12, I met Robbo, a coach, and that changed everything. He didn't pity me, he pushed me, and he saw in me what that doctor never did. At 15, he had me playing A-grade women's basketball. And at 17, most weekends, I was flying around Australia playing in the National Basketball League. Woo. Early morning runs in near 0 degrees temperatures, first to practice, last to leave, shot 100 baskets every day. Why? Because my gut instinct was stronger than someone else's opinion.
Well done.
Yeah.
Have you ever found that you're drowning in data and unsure what to do? Sometimes we don't need another spreadsheet. We need more self-trust. Your intuition is your internal GPS. The E in the roadmap is about edge. There was this one day in science class, and there was this one day in year 5 when my parents decided that we were going to move from Burnie to Hobart. After 1.5 years at my new school, at the end of year 6, I won the top academic prize. And then high school started like a dream. Top English class, top maths class, cross-country champion, athletics champion, even with a broken arm. But I had thick, clunky glasses. My left eye wandered, my head tilted to the side. And in the 1980s, that made me a walking target. Bullying can be cruel, cross-eyed, 4 eyes. Then one day in science class, when the teacher stepped out of the room, Mary got this giant syringe full of water and she squirted it down my back. making me look like I'd wet myself. The entire class erupted in laughter. I ran 2 kilometres home that day, broken and soaking wet. But that day taught me more than any class ever would. It taught me that struggle creates edge. What's your edge? The one that's been born out of what you've had to overcome? Or have you forgotten that you've even got one? What happened the last time you used it? You see, lacking vision in one eye makes you see everything else. I can't always see people, but I can feel them. I've become sharper, not despite my disability, but because of it. And when I stood on the podium at the World Masters Athletics Championships with a gold medal around my neck as a world champion, I knew this. It's not my disability that defines me. It's my courage, determination, and grit. So, I ask you, are you listening or are you living? Because the world will try and blindside you with doubt, labelling, and diagnosis. But it's not your limitations that define you, it's your view.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Much appreciated. Wow, that was